You also wrote that if you aren't naturally better than someone, you can beat them by outworking them constantly. So how have you seen that play out in basic play?
So it's actually really interesting. I think the main difference between this school and my old school is my old school didn't have, we had a lot of good players, but they weren't good just because they were born football players. There was not, oh, I was naturally 6'6", 285, and strong. They usually were okay players, and the school fostered them to become good players. On my last year, there was this kid. He was probably he was shorter than you, a little bit more muscular than you, but he was not that much more athletic than you. And he was dominant on the field only because he wanted it more than every single person he would play against. Literally, we would play against people who hadn't lost a game the entire season, and he's playing them like they're playing a freshman. No matter what, he would always try 100%, no matter what. And he would outwork kids who were better than him. In my league, there was this team that had really poor coaches, but really great players. So every year there'd be several kids going D1. Those college coaches would come in, recruit, say, oh, this person has a good athleticism. They'll take them, they'll train them to be really good players. But they weren't able to play well because it's not that they didn't want it enough, but they just weren't able to constantly put in that effort. Versus at Notre Dame, they will constantly be giving you that effort. We work the entire summer, we work every time.
I wonder how it's possible for someone to gain it, right? That, I don't know, we can call it dog energy, that energy to just want to go 110, 120% every single day. I feel like I've seen you have that energy at times on the team, and I've seen definitely people who have that energy. Maybe in different periods of my life, I've been able to access a piece of that. So do you think it's something that people can develop with time, or do you think it's something that people are born with and that maybe it's from how they were raised, but how do you think people can really find that energy within themselves?
You just have to love whatever you're doing. It literally doesn't matter what it is. If you find something you genuinely love doing, you can just overwhelm everyone in it, because whenever everyone else is trying, they're going to take a break from it. Your break is doing that thing. So when I'm exercising, I love to exercise. It's just what I love to do. So when I'm if I want to cool off or I'm having a bad day at school, I love to get in the gym and put up some heavy numbers because that's what I love to do. It's not working for me. It's what I'm doing to relax. That will always get you faster than or further than someone who's just doing it to get better. Because if you're doing it to get better, sure, they may have natural ability. They might be able to build muscle faster than you, or they're naturally taller than you. But they're not going to be able to put in that effort because they're specifically saying, oh, I want to do 2 hours this time, 2 hours this time, versus, oh, if I'm home, hey, there's weight, let's see if I can move it. You're never going to be able to catch up because they're constantly working even when they're relaxing.
I think it is a culture these days that people don't really have much love for what they do. Whether that be athletically, or it be academically, or it be even working jobs. I think there is this lack of love. And I think there's two ways you can approach that, right? One thing you could be try to find the thing you love the most, go do some exploring, try to find that hobby or that activity you love the most, and try to do as much of that as possible. But it also doesn't mean that you should try to not. You can also find love in what you do, even if it's not some magical, idealistic thing. I feel like I used to believe that, oh yeah, all the stuff I'm doing, it's boring work. I want to find that one thing I love doing, that one project, that one business idea that I would love to work on. But you can also find love doing the things you do every day. And I think that's a skill that you can find gratitude wherever you are in life, right? If you're working a 9-to-5 job, I think you could find gratitude there. If you're working a job, I think you could find love for anything you do. But I think for people, they could take both paths. I don't think they should just be accepting of the situation they're in their life. They should still try to find that one thing. If you weightlifting, you absolutely love doing it, do as much of it as possible. But I think you can also find love for just what you do on a day-to-day basis.
I think that, yeah, you're right that there are things that people can say, oh, I love to do this. But it's more of, if it's a job, you're usually there because you love to make money, or you want to do stuff because you want to have money. Because no one, unless you're literally the only thing that brings you joy in life is seeing numbers go up in your bank account, in which case you would do more than just 9 to 5. We literally do everything it takes to get money, do grinding, flipping things, no matter what. But if you're I think to get to what you're saying, I don't think that it's that people don't have something that they can like. It's just that the things that they like, they don't really have access to that much, or it's something that people don't think as productive. In Maribor, everyone loves ping. They don't love ping pong, but they're amazing at ping pong. There's no benefit to that. They're not going to go to the Olympics for ping pong. So if they said, hey, I don't want to play football in college, I want to just play ping pong for fun, it's just not going to work out. So a lot of people have to balance that, oh, I love it, to, oh, I have to, make money. So there's a lot of things that in that like balance of, oh, I need it to live versus, oh, I want to have fun, you end up losing some things. Because say if my goal in life, I just want to play ping pong for fun. If that was my only goal, all right? After I graduate and I leave my home, I need money to buy a ping pong table and have a place to play ping pong. So that means I have to get a job. Every time, the more time I spend in that job, is less time I spend playing ping pong. And eventually I want to say, let's optimize this. I want to get the most amount of time to play ping pong, which means I need the most amount of money. In which you're going to take a job. It takes a lot of brain work, a lot of focus, because you're going to need to get money to play ping pong for longer. You do that for a certain amount of time until you're no longer able to play ping pong at the level you go back to, at the level you wanted to. Now you're really rich. You come back to play ping pong and you don't love it as much. Now what? It's like, I feel like that's why it's so fun to have like a hobby that you can make money in. Like if you make art that you just love, like there's a story about this guy who makes these hot rods, which are like, it's like this tiny little car. It's almost like, those cars that little kids are in? It's like that, but it's just an actual car. And the guy makes like 6 of them a year. And it's just because he does it for fun. And like he only sells when he gets bored of it. It's because he can make money off it, and it's something that he loves. So he found that perfect balance. And that just doesn't exist for a lot of people. Like if I love collecting rocks, and I like collecting basalt, which is just like when there's salt in a rock. I'm never gonna make money off of that. I could like sell that online. I'm not gonna make a living off of that. That's just not sustainable. So not every hobby you can really like sustain yourself in, but you can still find something you love and find that little aspect of it that you love and just maximize that. Like you should do that better than everybody else in that task.
Yeah, I agree, man. And the lifestyle you portray is a very extreme lifestyle. And I like that a lot, right? This idea that you don't just like making money. You love making money, and you're gonna be working all damn day to make money. Or you love weightlifting, so you're not just gonna go to the gym and weightlift, but you're gonna come back home and just lift random shit and start lifting. But you portray this very extreme lifestyle that when you find that one thing you love, do as much of it as possible. And well, I don't think most people are on that extreme side of things. I think I have seen across my life that I have tended to lean more to the extreme side of things, where when there's one goal I really want, or there's one thing I love doing, I just want to go all in and do as much of it as possible. And if I look back at the last 4 years of my life, every year I feel like I've been a different person just because of the different seasons of my life, the new obsession I've had, and the more I've been delving into that thing, right? Like you can probably see this right now with, I found out I enjoy talking to people, I love learning from people, I love watching podcasts. I'm like, I want to start my own thing. This is a hobby I love that can be monetized if you put a lot of work into it. So it really fits the category that you define. So I thought that, okay, this could be that thing for me. This could be the thing that I go all in, extreme in, and make that into the hobby I love doing. But one thing I've also heard from a lot of people that have somehow managed to live a lifestyle where their hobby became their occupation, they started to lose love for that hobby as well. Because all of a sudden, it's no longer a hobby you do for fun, it's now something you do for a living. And then you have to change the way you do it in a way that it's not like really an art form anymore, but it's more something you do to make money, right? So for example, let's say there was an alternate version of me that loved doing the podcast thing, and he loved doing it in a very special way, the way he liked to do it, but then he found out that in order to make money off of it, you have to make it in this certain way, you have to make thumbnails this certain way, you have to make the length of the podcast this certain way. And so you make this thing into something that you use to make money off of, all of a sudden you don't even love it anymore because you're 10 years down the line and you're doing something that's just another job again. That's not even the thing you started doing in the first place. So it's really this balance, because there are people that I've met that absolutely love what they do. And it's a hobby. For example, Coach Rivera, you saw him, right? In the wrestling room. He's been wrestling since he was 5 years old, and he's still wrestling today. And all the jobs he's had, whether it's literally wrestling in the NCAA to making elite wrestling, he's always found a way to make his hobby to a job, but still love it. But at the same time, there's so many people that fall down the other rabbit hole. So again, it's not a one size fits all, but it is a very ideal lifestyle, I think, of where you have a hobby, you just absolutely love working, and you can make money off it, and you find a way to retain that love for it as well.
Yeah, I also agree that it's like there is that balance to it where you want to love it, but you also don't want to have it be your sole income. Because no matter what, if you're trying to monetize something, you will always lose fun in it. Like no matter what. Like and also when you say that I have an extreme like lifestyle, you're only seeing me for like what, 6 months now? I have so many times like switched things I love. Like I have a lathe at home. I have tons of epoxy in my dorm because I have so many projects I just throw myself into for a little bit, then I come out. And I throw myself into it a little bit, and then I come out. Which is one of the reasons why I love creative projects in school, because I'm able to use the little teeny tiny skills I picked up from all these little things and merge them together. Like for an art project once, we had to get a notebook. And I forgot to tell my parents to buy a notebook for me. So I just literally looked under my bed until I found a notebook that I made in third grade. It's freshman year, it's just a senior year. A notebook that I made in senior year, like from scratch. Like I literally put the piece of paper into little pamphlets. I literally took beaver hides from eBay and tanned it myself to make the cover for it. And I used to do that because it was a hobby. Like I don't know how to get to, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but yeah, I honestly was lost in thought.
Yeah, all good. It's definitely a fun lifestyle. A lifestyle where you're able to just go all in something. But I think if you look around you, there's not that many people like that. There's not that many people like you. And I think a reason is because it's so hard to live a lifestyle like that. Because we have a tendency in our human nature to conform. And there's always that activation energy you need when you want to start a new project, this fear of what people will think about you. What if this fails? What if this doesn't go well? And there's always that, okay, if I do this project and it doesn't go well, then people will look at me like, why the hell am I wasting all my time doing this thing? But maybe they can't see the side that you actually just love doing the thing in the first place. But there's definitely that few people have of doing something that they really want to do because they have that weird genetic love for the thing, this weird primal love for this weird activity. And I think everyone does have something different. I think every person is so unique in a way that there's just different activities that they're inclined to. There's different hobbies that are just find some kind of fulfillment and joy in. But there's just so many barriers holding them back. There's these fears, these excuses why they can't do it. And that's why if you look around you, most people are just normal people. Most people don't do crazy shit like making scrap notebook art projects, or I think the other project we're working on trying to scale the entirety of Annenberg building and some 3D software, or even starting a podcast. I think people are afraid to do things they really want to do because of maybe society's perception or the fear of failure or this fear of what's the point?
Well, yeah, I feel like that is the case where a lot of people are afraid to throw themselves into something. If I were to give someone advice from that, I know it's kind of hard to say, just don't care, but like, I've met a lot of people in my life, and a lot of people thought that I'm a weird person. And in the end, yeah, they're going to for a little bit, but after that, they're just going to get to know you and think, oh, that's just something that they love. They're going to be saying, yeah, it's weird that you're doing that, why are you doing that, but what difference does it make? It's weird that you're doing it. So what? If you're finding fun in that, just do it until you don't find fun in it. And if you fail or if you quit, you still did that. You can still look back in your life and say, man, I did half of that, where most people did none of that. And I still feel like most people will eventually find something that they fall into. But even though, yeah, a lot of people are like a little bit like they seem basic to when you're talking to them, that's just they don't open up to tell you, oh, I like to draw on the side, or I like to write on the side. Because sometimes they do that, and it's not good. Like I had this friend who wrote stories. None of them were good. None of them were good. Like they knew that though. They knew that their storylines didn't really make sense. Their characters were really basic, but they just did it because they loved it. They didn't do it for everyone else. They didn't do it to publish their story. They just did it because they like writing stories. So when you're doing something for yourself, for fun, don't worry about what other people have to say about it. So that's why you can do a rec league for a sport that you're not good at, because most people there aren't really great at it. And then just throw yourself in, admit to yourself, yeah, I'm not good at this. I'm gonna fail a bunch of times. That's what I did with wrestling. In the beginning of wrestling, I was dying. Every time I was running around, I was saying, man, I'm not gonna be able to do this, I'm gonna quit. Like all that time, I was thinking, I'm the oldest guy in here. There are freshmen going around here, loop-de-loop-de-loop. Like when we were doing the light, I'm like just trying to make it through the entire practice. But like I just knew that, hey, yeah, I'm gonna look weird doing this. It's gonna look really weird that I'm, 275, I'm being slow, outpaced by like a freshman that's 130, but still, I'm having fun. At the end of the day, I didn't even stay with wrestling because I loved wrestling more than like, I don't know, sitting around at home or anything. I just did it because it's fun. That's why I stayed with it. And just, if people just find something they love just for the joy of doing that, and just don't care about what other people say, or if they do care about what other people say, just know that after a while, those people are going to think that it's fine. It's just throw themselves into it.
If you enjoyed that clip, then click here to see the full, unedited length podcast. Make sure you click here to see the full podcast, and don't forget to like and subscribe.